everyone, so I'm going to demonstrate how to make sure that your constructions are good by making sure they pass the drag test and snapping your points in place. So notice these shapes both look like perpendicular bisectors, and they both have the circles, which is good. But one of them is going to pass the drag test and one of them isn't. If I move point A over here on the one on the left, or point B, notice how the shape is always perpendicular and it's always right down on the middle of the line. That means it passed the drag test. I did that one correctly. If I go over here and I move this shape, however, like I'm going to move point C here, see how that breaks it? And now it's not perpendicular anymore and it's not down the middle of the line anymore. That means that this one on the right failed the drag test. So here's how to make sure your constructions pass the drag test. So you start out with these two lines. There we go. Same two lines. Over here, I'm going to take a circle. I'm going to do it correctly on this line. I'm going to start at point A, and I'm going to drag my circle over to B, and I'm going to snap it. Now I'm going to start at point B, and I'm going to drag my circle over to A, and I'm going to snap it. By snapping the circle to those points, by clicking on the point, that locks the circle to the point. When I take my line, I'm also going to make sure that I'm going right on the intersection of the two circles. And the point should turn black. If it turns black, that means it's locked in place. So E and F both turned black, meaning I was right on the intersection. And when I move this around, my line stays right down the middle of that line segment. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to take my circle, but this time I'm going to mess up on purpose. So this time, instead of snapping it to the point, I'm just going to kind of eyeball when the circle is big enough, and I'm going to click somewhere else. Okay? Then, actually, I don't even like that because it doesn't even look right. Let me fix that a little bit. So I'm making sure it passes through D. Okay. Looks right. Looks like the circle's right? And then over here, I'm going to actually do it correctly on this side. I'm going to start at D and snap to C. So when I made point G, I wasn't snapping the circle in place to D, and that's where I went wrong. Now I'm going to add my line down the middle. I'll do this point correctly on top. Oh, no, maybe I'll just eyeball it. I'm just going to eyeball it down the middle. That looks right? But it's not, because now if I move this shape, if I move any of these points, everything breaks. It's not snapped into place. So you can't just eyeball stuff. You have to snap them to the intersections and to the points. And you can use the drag test by dragging any of the blue points around. As long as it keeps the same shape, that means your construction's good.